So just take out the stuff that we, so what we're going to do today is that we're going to write in for Caribbean study, how to write for Caribbean studies. This is not only writing for Caribbean studies, but writing as a student going forward in your life. When you go to university, you can employ these very same skills when you are writing. Where we are now in the syllabus. Let us see if I can bring up the syllabus so I can show you where we are in the syllabus. It is. I want to show you where we are in the syllabus so you have an idea. So for the assignment that I gave to you, just have that assignment ready, because we're going to go through it. It's part of the exercise. So just, all right, good. So you have an idea. I want to have an idea where we are in the syllabus. All right, so and I don't think we are doing bad as a class. Where it is. All right, hope you are seeing, ladies. All right, so this is the syllabus. This is module 1. And for module 1, it's Caribbean society and culture. Caribbean society and culture, that's the module. And the specific objectives of the syllabus is 1, locate and define the Caribbean region and its diaspora. And 2, analyze the impact of the historical process in Caribbean society and culture. So we would have, if you have your syllabus, you can tick 1 because we would have covered 1. We are now in 2, specific objective 2. So if we go into a breakdown of the syllabus, a breakdown, of the syllabus, we have, so for 1, location and definition of the Caribbean and its diaspora. So we would have looked at the geographical location, names of territories. That's something that we would have covered already. Next, the subregions. We would have looked at the the subregions, the Greater Antilles, the Little Antilles, the Bahamas. We look at all the different subregions and the position of the various territories, the Caribbean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, and the different continents surrounding the Caribbean. So we would have looked at objective 1A. So we can tick objective 1A. Objective 1B. Objective 1B. Definitions of the Caribbean. We would have looked at the geographical, geological, the historical, the political, and the diasporic definition. So we would have covered that. The historical process, So we are now at this one, the historical process, and we're at 2A, which is migratory movements and the establishment of patterns of settlement by different groups within the Caribbean from pre-Columbian times to 1838. So what we are doing now is that so far we would have looked at some of the different groups that would have migrate to the Caribbean, or what we consider the Caribbean today. Which are the different groups we have looked at so far? Any student?
Sir, the Amerindians.
So we look at the Amerindians. The next group that we would have looked at was?
Europeans.
The Europeans. And the next one?
Africans.
The Africans. Repeat? Okay, the African. So we would have also looked at the African. So we have a few other groups, not really a few, but the indentured workers that came at the end of 1838. We have that group to look on, and we're going to look at that group tomorrow. Right? For tomorrow's class, we're going to look at that group. And also, I want to show you some videos about African religion, Afro-Caribbean religion. I might show you those videos either tomorrow, and then I do indenture the next day. So that is how we plan. So next week now, ladies, what we're going to do next week is that we're going to look at 2B, migratory movements inside and outside the Caribbean. So we are going back to the diaspora. But when we are looking at the diaspora, ladies, we are going to look deeper into the diaspora, right? It is going to be much more than just a diasporic definition. We're going to look at where they settled in the US and some of the impacts, how they contribute to these metropolitan countries. That's when we look at the diaspora. So we're going to go deeper into the diaspora for 2B. Then after that, for 2C, we are going to look at the development of systems of production, which is the different systems in the Caribbean, how people produce things, are what the different labor forces that were used to produce different things in the Caribbean. We're going to look at that for 2C. So next week, we're going to look at 2B and 2C. The following week, we're going to look at D and E. So by next week, ladies, we're going to finish this topic. We're going to finish 1 and 2. We should finish 1 and 2. And then we are going to continue with this identity and social formation. I believe, I'm not so sure, but usually when we have a face-to-face class, the discussions we have much more discussions taking place. So it takes a longer time to finish a topic. It's online. I guess students are not comfortable talking online. I'm not, things I can understand. So we tend to be moving much faster than when I usually have face-to-face. Because face-to-face, when we usually have face-to-face, I usually start this topic here, identity and social formation, in January. And it seems as if we are going to cover up to that topic, up to December. And then when January comes, we're going to start this impact of geographical phenomena and finish module 1. Module 1 is the longest module. So we know for sure that's a problem. Well, we know it's going to take some time. So what we did today in the common hour is module 3. So what we do is that we do module 3 and we do module 2 in the common hour, and we do module 1 in class. So module 3, ladies, the first objective under module 3 is to explain the nature and the purpose of research. What is research? What are the different purposes of research? And that's what we would have done this morning. Next week, you're going to identify the research problem and how to formulate the question and all of these different stuff. All right. So you have an understanding where we are going. All right. Assessments. How are you going to be assessed? I'm going to give you one group work. So there are 3 grades we need for this term. One group work is going to be one of the grade where you're going to present something on a topic that I'm going to give to you. And next one is that you're going to get a multiple choice test. So you have one group, the group work, the multiple choice test, and the group work is going to be the groups that you form for your SBAs. All right. The multiple choice test and the third assessment that you're going to receive is an essay. And so because you are going to do an essay for me, or more than one essays for me, I want to go through essay writing because I don't want to give you an essay to write, and then when you write the essay, then you get a low mark on the essay. It is better that I teach you how and to write an essay, what I'm looking for in the essays that you're going to get, or to perfect the essays, and how to get the grade 1. All right, because the aim is for everybody in the class to get a grade 1, just like how the girls did last year. Everyone in the class got a grade 1. And so my aim is that everybody in this group, my 2 Caribbean Studies group, that they will get grade 1s this year. The lowest anybody should get in this class is a grade 2. All right? So the aim is for everybody to get a grade 1. That is our aim. So in order for us to get that grade 1, what we're going to do is that we're going to, oh, you're seeing my screen now, writing for Caribbean Studies?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. So, ladies, the homework. So what I want you to do quickly, not really quickly, but because we're going through a process. The process that we're going through is nothing to embarrass anybody. I just want to hear how you would have developed that topic. So the first thing is I'm going to ask somebody to share what they wrote for their homework. So the question was, the Amerindians contributed more to the modern Caribbean culture. With use of examples, develop one paragraph to discuss the extent to which you agree with this statement. Anyone want to go ahead? Anyone want to share?
Sir,
Yes,
I can
go Jackson.
This is Shirley.
I see Deidre Jackson, your hand just raised.
Yes, sir.
It's you? Someone
Yes,
else?
sir.
Okay. All right. So you have Shirley and Jackson. So both of you can share. So Jackson, go first and then Shirley.
The Caribbean, as many describe it, is a melting pot of cultures and continues to live up to this description as the everyday lives of people represent the concoction of cultures that govern our social, economic, and political affairs. To say the Amerindians contributed more to the modern Caribbean is not a completely accurate statement. Firstly, the contemporary Caribbean, while still having traces of Amerindian demographic, consists mostly of African, European, and Asian descendants. While the Amerindians still exist in the Caribbean, they represent an extremely small portion of the Caribbean due to the mass genocide of the people, with the African, European, and Asian descendant population increasing closer to 100% of the total Caribbean population. Due to this demographic, the influence of the Amerindian population is limited. Secondly, none of the official languages of the Caribbean countries have Amerindian origin. The languages are mostly Creoles of European and African languages. For example, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Barbados speak an English Creole, Haiti speaks French Creole, and Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico speak Spanish. Although we still use indigenous references such as tobacco and hurricane, the dominance of the European and African syncretic languages overshadow the Amerindian contribution. Thirdly, the style of dress that is dominant in the Caribbean reflects European culture. The main style of the wearing of dresses, skirts, pants, and suits. The Amerindians, who were known for wearing limited apparel, mostly just a loincloth, have no impact on Caribbean dress. Lastly, our religious practices merely reflect the Amerindian culture. The Amerindians were mostly animists and nature worshippers. The contemporary Caribbean features mostly European and African and Hindu religions. The main religion practiced in the Caribbean is Christianity and its denominations. Approximately 70% of the Caribbean belongs to the Christian faith, while the rest belongs to Hinduism and other syncretic religions such as Rastafarianism, according to the quality data on religion.com. Thus, with the aforementioned points, Amerindians could not contribute more to the modern Caribbean culture.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ladies. Yes, Jackson, that was a very good one. Excellent point. You give me more than a paragraph, correct?
Yes, sir.
More than a paragraph, but that is good. You give a different spin to it, and that is what the question was really asking. I'm coming to you, Nick Shirley. So what you have done is that you presented a position on the topic, and your position on the topic was or is that the Caribbean is, so while we do have some little features of Amerindian cultures, the Caribbean is really made up of a lot of Afro-European cultures within the space. So that is what you would have argued. And if you had written that for the exam, you would have gotten marks for it from the spin that you would have taken. And I think it was a good way of how you would have put your spin to it. No wrong way, no right way. That's how you would have argued it. All right, next person.
Thank you.
Shirley.
Sir, I was agreeing with the statement because I didn't read into it like Deidre did.
No, that is good. That is so good. Just you go ahead with it. Go ahead.
Okay. After their inhabitants in the 1100s, the Amerindians settled in the Caribbean territories unbothered for over 1,000 years. After their discovery and near extinction by the European conquerors, and thousands of years later, their influence is still strongly felt in our modern day culture. The evidence of their presence is seen in the names of countries like Jamaica, originally Jamaica, land of wood and water, a mantra we live by today, and Haiti. Another example of their influence would be in our cuisine. We enjoy dishes such as pepper pot, bami, sweet potato, and mami apple, which were all delicacies of our indigenous people. Additionally, many of our recreational practices and tourist attractions are also influenced by the Amerindians, which include rafting, fishing, and our museums. Hence, it is a surety to state that there is immense influence from the Amerindians on our modern day lives.
Yes.
That's it, sir.
All right, very good. I like how you would have presented yours also. But my question is, if I get a question like this for 20 marks, this question is for Shirley. You get 20 marks in the exam. You're going to Cape and you see this question. 20 marks.
Sir, I'd write more.
You write more?
Yes, sir. But this is a paragraph.
How would you go up? How would you approach it?
I would expound more as it relates to the Amerindians' lives and compare it to our lives now,
Mm-hmm.
and how some people still actually live like Amerindians or are descendants of Amerindians.
All right, good. All right, good. Yes, Jackson. Jackson, your hand still up?
Oh, sorry, I just forgot to take it down. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Anyone else want to? How would you approach a topic like this? If you get this in the exam for 20 marks, sometimes they ask because you get 2 20 marks essay and 2 30 marks essay. Yes, Elliot, go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to say that if we got this as an essay question, what we could do is we take our stance. For example, we could agree with the statement, but in one of the paragraphs, we could say on the other hand and present points against, just so that it's a balanced argument, and then conclude.
Yes, that's another way in which we could do it. All right. Very good. That's a very good way. Now, the other thing when it comes to essay writing, so what I'm going to do now, ladies, is that especially for some students I know who are weak writers, because some of us don't like to write. You agree? And we know that writing is very difficult for us. We can read everything, we know the information, but we really don't know how to put down the information. We are not a writer like Shirley and Jackson and Elliot. All right? So we really don't know how to put down the information. And maybe you have other great writers in the class. I don't know because I didn't see what all of you would have written down. So my aim now is to give you a framework on how to write your essays or how to develop your points. Somebody just raise their hand.
Sir, I was going to ask if you were answering the 20-mark essay, if you would include like who are the Amerindians?
Repeat again for me.
I was going to ask that if we were answering the 20-mark essay, that we would include who the Amerindians were.
Yes, you will need to tell them about who the Amerindians were. All right. So the first thing, you're correct. The first thing, ladies, that we are going to do, thank you. The first thing that we want to do, ladies, is peel. You have ever seen this approach before, peel? Anybody? Tell me if you have seen it before.
No,
No,
sir.
something
No, sir.
similar.
Repeat.
I
Elliot?
said something similar, sir. Not this exactly.
Peel. So there's an approach to develop our paragraph that is called peel. Just like you have a banana, you peel a banana or an orange, you peel your orange, same thing, the peel approach. So what you're going to do is that for each of your paragraph, you're going to peel each of your paragraphs, right? 1 second, please. So the peel approach, ladies, this is how you develop a paragraph. So before I go through how to develop your entire essay, I want to show you how to develop a paragraph. And I've seen it in exam. You see what Deidre Jackson Shirley just wrote, or what she just told us for her paragraph? You know that students write that for a 20 marks essay? just what she did, 20 marks essay, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is to show you how to peel. So what I'm going to do, the first thing is that I am agreeing with the statement. So you can agree, you can disagree with the statement, because the statement, it said the Amerindians contributed more to modern Caribbean culture. With the use of example, develop one paragraph to discuss the extent to which you agree with this statement. So for me, I am the writer. I agree with the statement, all right? But one of my first points that I'm going to develop for my examiner, this is not my introduction, so let us show you how an essay is supposed to, before I develop this. Where it is. So when you have your essay, this is how your essay should look like. So you have your introduction, then you have your point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, conclusion. When it's a 20 mark essays, we usually want 4 points. When it's a 30 marks essay, we usually ask for 5 to 6 points. That's what we're usually asked for, all right? However, ladies, for each of your points, so when you are developing point 1, you need to peel. Point 2, you need to peel. Point 3, you need to peel. Point 4, you need to peel. If it is a 5 or 6 marks, you need to peel each of your points. So that is excluding your introduction and your conclusion. Let us get back to developing the point. So peel means point, evidence, explanation, link. So what are you going to do? You're going to state your point. You're going to give evidence or examples to support your point. You're going to explain your evidence, and you're going to link your point to the question that was asked. Is that clear? Any question? Or you just want me to continue? Anyone? I need feedback.
You can go ahead, sir.
All right, good. So look at this now, point. So my point, my first point that I want to develop is the Amerindians contributed significantly to Caribbean cuisine. I can give a definition. You could say cuisine includes food, drink, different national dish, all of that. So that is my point. So the point is the Caribbean contributed significantly to Caribbean cuisine. What are examples of the Caribbean cuisine that they would have contributed to the evidence? For example, their popular dishes, fruits, and ground provisions. Now I'm going to explain. The national dish of Ghana is pepper pot. This was a favorite of the indigenous peoples. Other popular dishes include jerk, barbecue, and the use of iguana, crab, manikou for protein. Pineapples, mami apples, and plums were fruits used by the Tainos and the Kalinagos. In Jamaica, the popularity of pineapple is reflected in the coat of arms. Corn, cassava, and sweet potato are popular indigenous starch still used today in the Caribbean. Now I'm going to link my point, all of this, back to the question. The evidence is clear that the Amerindians cuisine still popular in the modern Caribbean. Now, let us look at this now. So this is my paragraph that I would have written. All right. Let us take out. So the first, I broke it up into the point, the evidence, the explanation, the link. All right. Now I'm developing, this is how it would look when I write it on the paper. Somebody can go ahead and read it for me.
The Amerindians contributed significantly to Caribbean cuisine. For example, their popular dishes, fruits, and ground provisions. The national dish of Guyana is pepper pot. This was a favorite of the indigenous peoples. Other popular dishes include jerk, barbecue, and the use of iguana, crab, manikou for protein. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Okay. Pineapples, mame, apples, and plums were fruits used by the Tainos and Kalinagos. In Jamaica, the popularity of the pineapple is reflected on the coat of arms. Corn, cassava, and sweet potato are popular indigenous starch still used today in the Caribbean. The evidence is clear that Amerindians' cuisine is still popular in the modern Caribbean.
Very good. All right. So if we look at this now, lady, this is how you develop your point. Now, the introduction, so this would be, for example, so if I'm looking at cuisine, this would be my point number one. Now, how do we go about our introduction, writing our introduction? Maybe I should have done the introduction first. So for the introduction, there are three things you need to do for your introduction. One, you need to introduce the question. So introduce this question that was asked. You need to give your thesis, your position on the issue. So just like Jackson, she would have disagreed with it. Shirley would have agreed to it. So that's their position on it. And then you're going to give your main points. So there are three ingredients when we are marking for the introduction that we look for. Introduce the question, state your position, and ensure that your points are, well, not developed, but your points are listed there. I'm going to give an example of an introduction. It's not a perfect introduction, but it's something that we can work with. So I'm going to the exam now, or I'm writing an essay and I got this topic. I'm going to start with, this is my introduction, right? I'm going to say this essay seeks to discuss the statement that the Amerindians contributed more to the modern Caribbean culture. So what am I doing? I am introducing the question. Never let it seem that the examiner guess what you're doing. Always tell them upfront what you intend to do, right? So the question asks, if you look, I use at the same word discuss here, and I basically put back the question right here. I'm not saying you should write it. There are some papers that you could say, this paper seeks to discuss, or this paper seeks to argue, or this paper seeks to explore, or this paper will compare, whatever it is. That is how you introduce your question. Always introduce your question. That is the first thing. When you introduce your question, you get a mark for introducing your question. Next. The next thing that you are going to do, ladies, if there are key terms in the question that you need to define, you can define those key terms in your introduction. Key terms. Sometimes you can decide if you define those key terms in the body of the essay. If you're a skilled writer, some writers go ahead and just define it upfront in the body of their essay, while others define some of the key terms in their introduction. So I continue. Amerindians, so I need to tell the examiner who were the Amerindians so I could get a mark for knowledge, right? The Amerindians were the first inhabitants within the Caribbean. They arrived within the Caribbean from the Orinoco area. So you inform the examiner that you know the Amerindians, who were the Amerindians. And the next thing you need to tell them is that the Amerindian groups include the Taínos, the Kalinagos, and the Mayas. Because why you need to tell them this? Because these were the groups who, the Amerindians, who would have settled in the agreed geographic definition of the Caribbean, or not even geographic, or the various definition of the Caribbean. For example, the mainland territories, Bahamas, Jamaica, those areas. So these were the groups who settled within, settled within those spaces. Then you continue. The next thing we ask for, so one, you introduce, and by introducing the question, you also define your key terms. My next point in your introduction, very important, is to state your position or your thesis. And so my thesis now is that it will be argued, what is my position? It will be argued, should get that. It will be argued that the indigenous peoples have contributed significantly to our Caribbean culture. That is what I am going to argue in my essay. Now, Deidre Jackson her position could be, it will be argued that the Africans and the Europeans have contributed more than the indigenous or the Amerindians. That could have been her position on the issue. All right. The next thing, after you give them your position, the next thing is that you need to outline all the points that will be developed. You outline all the points that will be developed, the points you're going to develop in your introduction. So you continue to say, in this essay, we will look at their demographic, linguistic, cuisine, and recreational legacies within the modern Caribbean. So when I go into your essay and I look at the first point, so your first point is you're going to peel demographic. What were the demographic effects, or legacies, or contributions of the indigenous people? Your second point, linguistics. What are these linguistics? And linguistics is talking about language and words and all of these different stuff, names of country, places. That. What are some of the linguistics? You're going to peel linguistics for the examiner. Cuisine, you peel that. Recreational activities, you peel that. All right, so each of the paragraph, you peel one of it. So when you're writing, you cannot mix. You're discussing a point and you're mixing demographic with linguistics, or linguistic with cuisine, or cuisine with recreational area. Always separate your point. Always separate them. So when you're looking at each of them, so the first paragraph after your introduction is going to deal with demographic. You're peeling. Linguistic, peel. Cuisine, peel. Recreational legacies, you peel those. So by the end of the essay, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs that you're peeling. Now, go back to this. So 1, you have your introduction. Then after your introduction, you peel demographic. After that, you peel linguistics. After that, you peel, what do you call it now? Recreational activities. And what's the next one?
Cuisine.
Yes, the cuisine. And then you peel the cuisine. Always remember to peel. And then you finish your essay with your conclusion. Always finish with your conclusion. Now, when you are concluding your essay, always restate your thesis. Restate your thesis when you're under exam conditions. When you're under exam condition, you restate your thesis statement. sometimes you just restate the thesis statement just the same way in which you write it in your introduction under pressure. You can do that. And then you summarize your main points in one paragraph. That is how you do your conclusion. All right? Any question, ladies? Any question? So since you have the notes already and there's no question, for the next 5 minutes, I am going, so we already feel, so we are writing this essay. Deidre, I'm going to ask you to change your position, all right? So what I'm going to ask you to do right now for 5 minutes, since we would have already peeled cuisine, I'm going to ask you to peel at one of the others. So either peel recreational area, demographic, or another one. So somebody peel it. Everybody work on one of them. You decide which one you're going to do. Peel it and then we will discuss it. So remember, when you're peeling a point, it's points, state the point, give evidence or examples, explain, link. Sometimes you explain and then you give evidence, or you give your evidence within the explanation. Anyway you take it, ladies, you must give examples and you must explain your evidence, and then you link. So peel one of them for me. This is a question. The Amerindians contributed more to modern Caribbean culture. And I want you now to peel a point, not cuisine, because we would have done that already. So where's my, they could peel either recreational activity or demographic. Try it for me, please. 5 minutes.
Many countries name spur from Amerindian influences. For example, Haiti, which comes from Haiti, meaning land of hills, Jamaica, meaning land of wood and water, and even Cayman, which is Cayman, meaning crocodile. Many towns across Caribbean countries still have Amerindian names. For example, in Trinidad, with Arima, Puna, and Caroni. Then I have even popular words that we use today without even thinking of it are Amerindian words, such as barbecue, hammock, tobacco, canoe, and even hurricane. We can see a great deal of Amerindian influence still in our modern Caribbean culture.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. That's an excellent one. Both of you did an excellent peel. And ladies, that is how I want you to peel for your paragraph. I hope this exercise was very helpful, right? So for tomorrow's class, I know school finish at midday, but for tomorrow's class, during the class time, I want you to do this essay for me. So you're going to do your introduction, follow the same introduction, conclusion, and you're going to peel your 4 paragraphs. So describe the major ways in which migrations into the Caribbean that greatly impacted society and culture. 20 marks, and this is from the 2010 paper.
Sir, did you just say school finishes at midday?
Yes, that's what I was just told.
Oh, okay.
Why?
They have department meetings.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah. So for Tuesday's class, for tomorrow, we already planned the class already, but you can't do it because this is due next week, but you still can work on it. So you can do introduction one day, you peel one paragraph, and next day you peel, and next paragraph, and next day you peel one, the next day you peel one, until you finish the full essay. Understand, ladies?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So it is very helpful. So where I'm sending this PowerPoint to you, I think I sent it already. I'm not sure. I'm going to send the PowerPoint right now. So you work on it. All right, ladies. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, sir. Same
Thank
to
you,
you.
sir.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.